Brown with black paws. The dog is brown. Both these animals were lost in the area of Johnson Road and I-94. If you've seen Spice or Rocco, please call 219-229-5763. Once again, that's 219-229-5763. And if your pet runs off or you find somebody else's lost pet, call 219-362-6144 to report that lost or found pet for the next Pet Patrol. Pet Patrol airs throughout the day, Monday through Friday, as part of your update news, and it's absolutely free. The number for Pet Patrol, 219-362-6144.
On air at 96.7 FM. Online at hometownnewsnow.com. This is your number one source of news and information in LaPorte County. 96.7 The Eagle. Welcome to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle, LaPorte County's original social media. Sound Off is a public interest forum that encourages your voice to be heard on the topics and issues impacting our local communities. For the next 30 minutes, we invite you to be part of the conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sound Off on our final day of February 2022. Can you believe we're 2 months into the year already done? Things are advancing very quickly, and this year is going to be a quick year, I'm sure. Probably because we've got all kinds of different things happening locally, but also we've got elections, primaries, these kind of things. And I don't know if you've wandered over to hometownnewsnow.com yet and saw our election coverage, but you should. If you go to hometownnewsnow.com and look at the front page, you'll see a blue banner for our hometownnewsnow.com election headquarters. And on there, if you click on that, you're going to see all kinds of different things. A daily poll that we do for different candidate races and stuff like that. We'd love to hear your opinion. And then you can also do you can see all the candidate profiles that we've done. We've asked the candidates, we emailed them to fill out all the information. What's your, what race are you running for? But also, what's your platform? What are 3 reasons for people to vote for you? These kind of things. What's your education? Things that you might want to know in order to vote for them. What's their website? How do you get more information? These kind of things. You can go to hometownnewsnow.com. Like I said, there's a blue banner near the top that just says election headquarters, and you'll find it. And it's great information. We update it daily. We're going to be putting some more stuff on there just to help you stay more informed and hopefully figure out who you want to vote for before May's primary. And obviously, we'll continue it on. Now, we've had in 3 days 3 different polls for different candidates running for office here in LaPorte. I did want to report on those, as I said I would. The first one that we asked at this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Sheriff under the Republican ticket? Now, there are 2 candidates running for the Republican ticket, Ron Heeg and Drew Morse. You're welcome to, again, vote for who you want. But here are the results of those. We had 65 people voting. You can only vote once. And 68% of our voters voted for Ron Heeg. 32% voted for Andrew Morse. Obviously, an unscientific poll, but we did want to put that out there to see where kind of our listeners were. Now, we'll continue to put more polls out there for you, and we want you to contribute. Here's another one at this time. This was the next day's poll. At this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Sheriff under the Democratic Party ticket? 3 candidates, James Arnold, Al Ott, and Andy Heineck are running for that race. James Arnold. There's no James Ott. There's just a James Arnold and Al Ott. James Arnold got 7%. There were 229 votes for this one. Al Ott got 27%. And Andy Heineck got 66% of the vote. Again, James Arnold, 7%, Al Ott, 27%, and Andy Heinick got 66% of that, 151 votes for Andy Heinick. And then finally, yesterday, we had another one at this time. Which candidate do you favor for the LaPorte County Commissioner District 1 race of the Republican Party ticket? This one will eventually go on to challenge our current incumbent commissioner, Sheila Matisse, in the Democratic Party one. There's 3 candidates running for this: Liz Bergeron, Connie Graham-LaRosa, and Nathan Patrick. I will say this one is pretty even. There's 45 votes for this one. Liz Bergeron won this one at 19 votes, 42%, followed by Nathan Patrick at 14 votes at 31%, and Connie Graham-LaRosa got 12 votes for 27%. Today, we have another poll on the site. Again, go to hometownnewsnow.com, and you'll find today's poll question at this time: which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Council District 1 of the Republican Party ticket? You've got 2 candidates, Justin Keel and Adam Karanka. So again, those are the poll results. I'll update you on Friday how this week's poll results go, Monday through Thursday, and I'll give you the results of those here on Sound Off. Today on the show, we've got Council President, LaPorte County Council President Randy Novak back on the show. Welcome back, Mr. Novak. How are you?
Great, thank you.
This weather, is it giving you life right now?
You know it is. We actually got away for about a week and went down in some sunshine. And
Yeah, you
came
look a little
back,
tanner than you were before.
Brought the warm weather back with us, and it's maple syrup time. So we're actually tapping trees and making maple syrup at home.
Oh, nice. Nice. Are you going to bring me some?
I might.
You're not.
Depends on how the
You're
show
not.
goes today.
I know, exactly. Hey, so we've got lots of stuff to talk about that's happening right now in the county, and we want to get to some of these things. One of the things that obviously has been talked about based on the city people we have on the county people we have on, all kinds of different ideas about the local income tax, or what politicians or our leaders call the LIT. You might hear them kind of say LIT. Well, the LIT is a type of tax that counties can institute, just for our listeners that might not know. And it can go to 4 different things. And one of the things that a LIT can go for is a public safety tax. And there is a suggestion to increase the public safety LIT here in LaPorte County. Now, the council gets to essentially decide whether or not this is going to happen or not. Obviously, you have asked the different communities, the cities and the townships, or the cities and the towns and everything, to have their people vote on it for good measure to see if they support it.
Right.
Where do you stand on the local income tax?
So just so you know, the when Mayor Dermody came to the council, and yes, the council's the one that votes on this. So it was decided at the council meeting to send this out to all the different, there's 12 entities that will receive funds from this. So we sent this out to the 12 and said, look, you guys need to pass a resolution to let us know that you want it. And so far, 10 out of 12. Now, one of those is LaPorte County. So the only one that hasn't voted yet, and it's my understanding they're going to vote in this next week, or in the next 2 weeks, is Michigan City. So all the other 10 have unanimously passed it and supported it.
So the 10 that have had the vote, the 10 of the 12 that had the vote, have voted in support of it.
Correct. And then we also received, it's my understanding, the Realtors Association has sent in a letter, the LEAP sent a letter, and some other people in the community have sent some letters. So those are all on record and everything else. So where I stand on the LIT, excuse me, years ago, being in public safety, and
You were the fire chief of Michigan City, just for our listeners that don't know.
Right, retired. But years ago, there was a proposal to put the LIT in place. This is years ago. So I've been on the council for 8 years. It was before that time. I supported it then. I support it now for the fact that if somebody can show me a different option, and I know the commissioners had a study done by Carl Sender, it's not a solution. So the commissioners are against it, and this isn't us and them, but some of the things that they've said is, maybe there's other options, there are ARP funds, there's this, there's that. Those are all temporary fixes. There is no permanent fix to it. So with talking with Jim Pressel and Mike Bahacek and the different people downstate that are lobbying and doing things down there, the tool that the legislators gave us is the LIT, the LIT tax for public safety. That's the tool they gave us. They're not going to give us more money. They're not going to send us bonus check or something else when we're not willing to do something here locally when we have the tools to do it. So that's where it's at.
For you, then you are supporting the local income tax then?
I'm supporting because with reviewing the funds and reviewing everything that's there.
Yeah.
This is like the only option we have as a permanent fix to this problem.
So again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So based on what I'm hearing from you is, for you, the commission report really isn't a tangible option. So for you, it's either support the local income tax or nothing, essentially, or the communities have to figure out where they're going to get the money without it.
And we understand we could give raises out of ARP money, but it's going to end. So then now the employees are making more money that we can't support. So we're going to have to make that up and make up any future raises. So it's going to put us in a deeper hole. It would buy us a little bit of time, but the time is not. It's not going to fix it.
And we had Commissioner Joe Haney on the show. We've had some commissioners, and I think everyone's on board with the ultimate goal to get more money into the hands of public safety, right? I think there's nobody in county government I've talked to that isn't in favor of that. There might be, they haven't been on the show anyway. Right. But the question is how do we do that? And again, I think the report by the county commissioners that they put forward and that you're referencing here, and we've talked about on the show before, is essentially buying, I think it goes until about 2029, and then the funds that they've found, that they think they found, are anyway with the ARP and these kind of things, can get to later in the 2020s anyway. But like you said, there's no guarantee that new income is going to come in from that, correct? And that's the question.
One of the things that Representative Pretzel stuck with me is, so 71 other counties have passed it in the state. So right off the bat, he's got 71 other representatives that are going to vote against it because they've already passed it in their districts. They're not going to support it. So they're going to go, why would I support giving you more state money when we did this option and you're not willing to do that? So that's that. So this isn't a whim. This isn't something easy. And the other thing is of all these meetings that Dermody's been, Mayor Dermody, all due respect, Mayor, has been having, there's very little outcry, or there's very little opposition to this. So, and I've heard from lots and tons of people. So,
all right, we've got Council President Randy Novak on the show. If you've got a question for Council President Novak, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522, or you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. I'd be happy to ask the question, or if you're streaming with us live on Facebook or YouTube, just put the question in the comments and I'll try to ask those as well. We're going to take our first break and get back here after that. Hey, keep listening to the show. We've got lots more to come, and stay with 96.7 The Eagle.
Car problems often strike at the absolute worst times, but you can rest well knowing that Cannon's Automotive Service is here for you and dedicated to get you back on the road with prompt, efficient, same-day service. The same Cannon's commitment that LaPorte has trusted for over 50 years. Cannon's Automotive Service, now with 2 locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
We're Cannon's Automotive. We fix everything.
Tech Credit Union is now in LaPorte. Their newest branch, located on Boyd Boulevard, is open to the community and ready to meet your financial needs. Take a look. You'll enjoy access to the latest banking and loan services, but without the big bank fees. Tech Credit Union is the better option for personal and business banking. To learn more, visit techcu.org or contact their LaPorte branch at 219-266-3100. Again, that's 219-266-3100. Tech Credit Union is an equal housing lender and federally insured by NCUA.
You know, there's 3 deer hunt seasons, right? Bow, shotgun, and the one you're never prepared for, deer in the headlight season. You know, when that darn deer decides to jump right in front of your GMC and... yeah, not the preferred way to get your 16-pointer. But if it happens to you, the Collision Center at Sowers Buick GMC stands ready to remove all evidence of that hunt from your grill and get you back on the road pronto. Remember, when it's crunch time, it's time to call the Collision Center at Sowers Buick GMC in LaPorte. Oh, and happy hunting.
Hey, who's hungry? Because I've got a deal for you. Dennis Siddell here to introduce you something new to the Morning Mayhem. Every weekday at 6:55, it's Denny's Diner. Yep, Joe and I will cook up some trivia questions, and if you have the correct answer, you'll be the winner of a $20 gift card from either JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill, the Burger Bar and Grill, JJ's Pizza Shack, Wanna Pizza, or Nowhere Bar and Grill. So join us weekdays for Denny's Diner at 6:55 on the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. My name's Nate Laux. Glad to have you with us today. Again, that number for the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522, or you can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com, or just write a comment in the Facebook Live feed or whatever, and we'd love to read that for you as well. We've got Council President Randy Novak on the show today, and we're talking about what's happening in LaPorte County. If you have a question, we'd love to hear from you. Let's get to our first caller. Hey, hello, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Who's with us today?
This is Steve Hollifield.
Hey, Steve.
Good afternoon, Mr. Novak. Thank you for coming on to answer questions.
Good afternoon, Steve.
First of all, as I've stated before, no one is denying the fact that we need to do this. But the lit tax, I don't feel, is 100% the way to do it. We have a shrinking population according to the census. We have a poverty rate that is increasing in LaPorte County. My questions are, how many people have applied for these jobs since you've increased the wages? Because I went online to the website and saw what the wages are. How many people have applied? What are you going to do if no one applies in the future? And finally, with the use of technology, you guys don't feel there's any way at all with giving these people more money that you can't cut some more budget and actually employees and everything out of the county? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So the first part of the question is the population has pretty much stayed the same. So I agree. Our population isn't growing, but that's here nor there. The crime rate and the number of EMS calls and the number of fire calls have been increasing over the years. So that's why there's a bigger demand. There's less people applying for these jobs. I would have to check, but this isn't just about LaPorte County in the Sheriff's Department and EMS. It's about Michigan City Police. It's about Trail Creek Police and the Long Beach and the town of LaPorte. So they're the ones that have the shortage. Last I heard, Michigan City Police were short 16 employees. So they're desperately short. The other part of it is can we reduce employees? Obviously, you can't reduce public safety employees when you give them just by paying them more money. So we are, and you and I have had this conversation, one of the things that the council is working very hard on is creating more part-time positions. When a person retires, we try to replace those people with part-time people because we save benefits. We're not trying to eliminate full-time people or allow people not to get living wages or do things, but if it's a position that can be part-time, we're all about filling those positions with part-time people to try and reduce, so it's a gradual reduction in workforce. The other thing that we're doing is sharing employees. So the auditor and the assessor and the treasurer share an employee. So we're kind of, that's in a, what would you call it, a starting phase where we're trying to experiment with that. And we really like how that's working out, and we hope to do more of that.
All right. If you have a question, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522. We've got Council President Randy Novak on the show today. Hey, one of the questions that we've been getting and talking about on the show is, and trying to explain, because it is a complicated issue, the Michigan City drawbridge. So the county, if I've heard this right, puts in about $1 million or more a year into just upkeeping this drawbridge. And people have asked, well, why does the county take care of it? Well, based on rules for the state of Indiana, counties are in charge of bridges.
Correct. Except for highway bridges.
Except for highway bridges. So what is the future of the Michigan City drawbridge? Are you hoping to tap into some of the larger federal stimulus dollars for infrastructure? Where is that rested at now, Council?
So we've reached out. We're in the process of finishing up a $1.5 million project on it right now. The brakes are just coming in. Different parts are being replaced while it's down in the off season. We have different members. We have a committee with commissioners and council members that have reached out to our Congress members and everybody, because it's going to require federal funds to come up with enough money to have a solution to the bridge. And now, a solution, we have a study done years ago. There's everything from, make a ramp long enough to be able to span that. And you got to remember, it's governed by the Coast Guard, and it's a federal navigable waterway. So that has to be maintained at all times. We're not allowed, if we're going to shut the bridge down, we have to notify them, or we have to have a crane there to open it up, keep it open. So, and it's also a special bridge, so in the state of Indiana. So you can't just replace anything on it you want with anything. It has to be maintained.
From what I understand, too, many of the parts have to be specifically and individually built, correct?
Correct. And that's what takes so long, and that's what makes it so expensive. So we're in the process of trying to reach out to everybody with Pete Buttigieg, in the position he is in transportation. We're reaching out to him. We're doing everything we can to try and get some federal funds on that. I think Congressman Marvan, they're working with him for a project there also. But these things all take time.
Do you know, is the goal to replace the bridge, or is it just, what do you do when it is so old, obviously, but it does carry a lot of meaning for Michigan City residents? It's a special bridge. Is the goal to rebuild it, or, and essentially look similar to what it is, or is it just to try to do more permanent fixes to the current bridge?
We'd love to have a permanent fix to it, but I just, in my own things with reading the study, it's going to be very hard, because it's hard to do anything other than replace the bridge with a bridge like the bridge. And that bridge that's there cannot just be scrapped. It has to be kept. It has to be maintained. So it has to be moved to another location, not necessarily on the water, but it needs to be stayed. It's like a historical bridge.
Okay, why is that? Is that from Indiana law?
Right,
okay.
right.
Right.
So it's not to say that I guess you couldn't get something changed. So there are so many restrictions on that bridge that it makes it very...
Solutions can be a little more difficult.
Correct.
All right, I also want to talk about some of the things that are happening in Kingsbury. I feel like, Kingsbury and what to do with Kingsbury has been talked about since I was a boy. Mm-hmm. Is there any progress happening down in Kingsbury for, infrastructure, anything like that, to where that can become or start to become the economic hub that the county envisions it? So, yes, there are some... We get reports all the time about businesses down there looking to do things, and I know, we always hear them. But, I guess when businesses go around and apply at different places and talk to different people, I don't know what the percentage of that is of actually landing one of those. But we've got some people out there very serious now. The rail connection is stay with me, the CN connection off of 35 is going through, and there's an old bridge there that'll be the last piece that's going to be missing out of the rail connection on that end. The CSX coming in from the other side, that's going to be there. I just at the Redevelopment Commission, being the chairman of that, I just signed an agreement with Comcast to give Comcast the right to use our easements out there. They're running high-speed fiber out there, so that it'll be set. And hopefully we get some people out there. There are people out there looking, I'll tell you that. So I can't tell you what they are. Yeah, so will that infrastructure work that you're talking about between the rail lines and the Comcast, these kind of things, which are important obviously for the businesses you're trying to attract, is that something that you expect to be done this year?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So hopefully we'll start hearing some more things happen in Kingsbury.
Absolutely.
This year. All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. We've got Council President Randy Novak on the show today with us in the studio. What's your question for Council President Novak? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on. What's your question?
Hey, this is Debbie Moss, soon to be your best pest, Randy.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I've got a very blunt question I would like to ask you. Mm-hmm. How come every time that we run out of money, they always turn to the taxpayer? People who live on fixed incomes, people who have learned to budget their money. All I'm saying is these people that are running our government, you know, there is a finance company out there that says we do better when our clients do better. How come the attitude isn't taken? Well, maybe all of us as a whole who are running the government, whether it's city, county, state, you know, federal government, how come they don't sit back and say, okay, we need to take a wage cut because our people are hurting and these people need help. You can't keep always turning to the taxpayer when things don't work out. And what I'm saying is, why do you think people like Jackie Leworski keep running for office time and time and time and time and time again? There ought to be a 2-year limit cap on everybody, in my opinion, from the president on down through the councils. These people should not be making careers out of these jobs. Back in the olden days, in our history books, it tells us that George Washington and all them went back out and worked in the farm fields when they got through doing the government business. These people make careers out of this, and they're the only jobs I know of where they vote in their own raises. If your people are not doing good that you represent, don't you think that people ought to be taking a hard look at themselves and say, look, people are hurting. Not just the pandemic put them back, but other things have happened to economically put them back. I would love to know the secret of our government where they go at midnight and they appropriate funds and everything's okay the next day. Because I can pray all I want at midnight and the funds are not there the next morning.
All right, let's let Council President Novak answer some of that. Go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot. So the question though, the question though about, again, tax increases, low income people,
Right.
you know, these kind of things. That's I think a legitimate question.
So it is, and so anybody on Social Security is not affected by lit. They don't have to pay it, so that they're excluded from that. And on lower income, it's a very small amount. If you're on a fixed income, I understand that, sympathetic to it. You got to understand, and she says, why are we not operating with less money? This year, LaPorte County as a whole is operating with $32 million less than we would have been if the tax caps would not have gone in on properties. So $32 million is how much we've reduced budgets in the entire county. That's all the different entities throughout the county. $32 million. So to say that why are we not operating on less money now than we were before? We are. So because of the tax caps. So all we're doing is asking for a little bit less reduction in that by this. And if there was another option, I would 100% support it, but there isn't. And as far as the individuals, I think she said something about if they're not doing their job, get rid of them. I'm assuming she's talking about department heads or the heads of the police departments or something. When there's 16 members short, it's kind of hard to do your job. I mean, you just don't have the manpower out there to put out there, and that's what we're trying to fix. So that and the lit actually covers a lot of different aspects, from the sheriff to the jail to community corrections. There's a lot of aspects to it.
Now, we've got Randy Novak, Council President Randy Novak, on the show on Sound Off today. If you have a question, 219-362-0522. Now, Commissioner Joe Haney was in the studio last week, and one of the things he said, he's in theories in support of the lit in one way. If the lit is only used for new money in public safety. So, for instance, you can't take $2 million of lit money and then take $2 million that's in your budgetary item and push that towards something else, correct? So, is there any thought to saying, okay, we support the lit, but all of this has to be new expenses in public safety?
So I agree with that to an extent. You can't whitewash it and just say, hey, this is going to offset this, and you got money for
now you have road money
dump
or
trucks or somewhere over there. There's different funds for that, and we've got money in those funds. The one thing, though, that the sheriff's pension fund, which is about $1.3 million a year, we pay that out of Riverboat every year. So that qualifies for that lit. That would be a good fit for the lit that would allow the Riverboat to be used for something else. That is a legitimate one. That's not a, hey, let's offset some budgets and do things. So I agree with Commissioner
that
Haney.
is qualified under your lit, for the state lit guidance.
Right, but they shouldn't be whitewashing or playing a shell game and moving money around just to free up money somewhere else. They should legitimately be using it for that purpose.
Would there be can the council essentially tie that to the lit increase and say we will support a lit increase if and only if there's some kind of agreement for this being new money under that? Or is that
the council's has the financial responsibility?
Okay.
So the council would be the ones that would create that. There's nobody else. The commissioners don't do that. It's all the council.
I guess what I'm asking is, would the council do that though? Would they tie that together and say the communities cannot use it?
Well, I don't know that we can restrict.
That's what I didn't know.
I don't know if we can restrict theirs.
Okay.
But obviously it's a very strong suggestion. When you got to remember, when the crime rate is up like it is, and I think there was a report in Michigan City, in different places, and even in LaPorte and everywhere. I know everybody's shorthanded. That's all about a quality of life. So this public safety is about improving your quality of life. When you pick up the phone and you call, you got an emergency, somebody's there to answer it and do things. So that is, I wouldn't say it's not an easy decision, but it's an easier one because it's improving quality of life.
All right, we've got Council President Randy Novak in the show, 219-362-0522. We're going to take another final break of the day. If you've got a question, love to hear from you. We got about 13 minutes left of the show. You've got time to call or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com or put into our Facebook Live comments. We'd love to hear from you. Be kind to yourself. Keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, LaPorte Seamless Gutter, 219-362-9972. Fall is here, and that means leaves and debris for your gutter system. We've got 3 separate types of gutter guard for your home. Leaves and debris come in all shapes and sizes. We don't need a one-size-fits-all for your gutter. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com.
Bring your plans and project ideas to the 2022 Home and Lifestyle Expo at the Blue Chip Casino Event Center in Michigan City. Admission is free for this 2-day family event, Saturday, March 5th and Sunday, March 6th, presented by the Builders Association of LaPorte County. Talk with professionals in home building, remodeling, maintenance, landscaping, home decor, and so much more. Enter to win a $1,000 shopping spree. The 2022 Home and Lifestyle Expo. Visit homelifestyleexpo.com for more information.
Look at all the things I've collected over the years in here, Dave.
Why, Dad?
So you'll have many things to remember me by, and, I'm sure you can use it all someday.
But, Dad, I can't use all these things.
Yeah, but just think, it's all yours someday.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Dad. Is that a bumper I see buried with this stuff?
Oh, hey, yeah, I believe it's your mom's 1976 Pinto. And again, it's going to be yours someday.
Do you have things you don't need or want anymore? Are you tired of seeing things that you thought was a good idea to buy and then turn around and put it away in some corner of your garage? Well, you're in luck. At 96.7 The Eagle, we can help by reading your garage, rummage, estate, or yard sale during Tradio. All you need to do is visit hometownnewsnow.com, click on the Submit tab, and fill out the form, and we'll contact you for the payment. It's that simple. Of course, we do accept debit and credit cards for payment. So listen weekdays at 9:45 for your sale to be read live on 96.7 The Eagle, and check out the listings at hometownnewsnow.com.
Let's look at the forecast at 96.7 The Eagle, brought to you by the Pink Sheep Children's Boutique.
The charming and affordable Pink Sheep Children's Boutique has so many fun themes and styles for boys, girls, and moms. Come see for yourself. The Pink Sheep Children's Boutique, 604 Lincoln Way in downtown LaPorte.
Michiana weather.
Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 46. Southerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, lows around 31. High of 45 tomorrow. Cloudy. From the Weather Center at hometownnewsnow.com. Right now, 41.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends, to our final segment of Sound Off. I'm glad to have you with us. We've got a couple callers. If you've got a question for Council President Randy Novak, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Council President Novak?
Yes, I'm calling in regards to the county tax there. how is the county tax going to be divided up? I mean, it's a county tax. It's not a city tax. It's not a village tax. So will it be divided according to population, or will it be divided as to who wants the money? And my second question is, they continually bring this up with regards to police officers, that, like in Michigan City, they're leaving because of the salaries are not commensurate with what's in surrounding communities. Did you ever think that not only in Michigan City, but maybe in LaPorte County, if they're leaving, that they don't like working for the sheriff, that they don't like working for that chief over in Michigan City? I mean, the chief in Michigan City, and I think this is what Holifield has said too, nobody watches as to how much money these people are making. The salary for the Michigan City police chief was set at like $79,000. Last year, he made $104,000. How do you make this much money? Where does it come from? I mean, nobody's watching where this money is going, and nobody's watching as to what kind of job these high-up individuals are doing. And might I ask you, Mr. Novak, when you were a fire chief, or before you became the chief, what was your annual salary? I mean, it's very high. I mean, why do we pay this much money for over the beginning guy? I mean, it's ridiculous.
All right. Thanks for calling.
So I'll tell you, my salary, I think the last year that I worked there, or one of the last years that I worked there. Now you got to understand, there's several things that factor into salaries. There's a salary. I think my salary as fire chief might have been $68,000, but there's contractual things, there's benefits, there's different things. At the end of the year, if you don't use your sick days, they buy your sick days back. That all figures into your pay. So the last year that I was there, your holiday incentive pay, at the fire department, you don't get holidays. The guys are on shift. You get a holiday incentive pay. You do things. So there's a lot of extra things that you get that are built into a contract and different things. The last year that I was there, I think I made right around $92,000. So I can't answer for the police chief or why, whether he's doing a good job or not doing a good job. That's the job of the mayor in Michigan City to look over that. So, and this isn't. I think he's a little mistaken. This isn't a county problem. This is a national problem with police, fire, EMS, with not being able to find employees and them jumping around. The state police is advertising that they actually put the sheriff on notice it's a friendly notice, but that we're putting you on notice that we're coming after your employees. We want to hire someone that's already been through the police academy so we don't have to pay them. So we're coming to take employees that are already there, already done, and they call it, and with the pension plans, some of them, not sheriffs, can't transfer into state police, but police and fire, they can laterally transfer your pension from another city to another city. So cities are going after putting out these high wages and pulling people. Michigan City, when I was at the fire department, we were losing employees to Mishawaka, South Bend, Westfield down in Indianapolis, Carmel. We were losing employees all over the place there because of the high wages. We can't compete with that. But you gotta compete the best you can. So
and we had a caller earlier, and I don't know if we answered this or not, but I do want to push on that. Is you do think, though, obviously the EMS has paid a little bit more. Are they seeing more applicants after they increased their wages?
So we just did that last month. So
okay, all right. It's too new to probably know. All right,
I'd have to check with Andrew McGuire, the director, to see where they're at.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. Thanks for listening to Sound Off. What's your question for Council President Novak?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, hate to call back again, but a couple comments you made I think need some clarification, at least for me and maybe some other people. Mm-hmm. When you guys continually talk about these tax caps, sending money back to the taxpayer, well, in the 40 years I've paid property tax, I've never seen a smaller bill. I've never got a refund check. I haven't found anybody that did. And the other end, when you talk about the $1.3 million for the pension fund, I have no problem with that. We have to fund that. That's an obligation. I understand that. But Mr. Rosenbaum 2 Mondays ago said, if we don't have to pay that $1.3 million in, that's money we could spend somewhere else. How about you give it back to us? What are your thoughts on that? Thank you, sir.
So just so you know, that's riverboat money. That comes up. We're paying that out of riverboat. So I don't know that we can just give that back to the 110,000 residents of LaPorte County. So I'm not sure if just giving money back is the option. The state they have an automatic trigger in place. They're going to give back, I think, $125 per resident of Indiana. And just so you know, that adds up to, I think it's $530 million to give everybody $125. So I'm not opposed to, trust me when I tell you, Mr. Holyfield, we're doing our absolute best to keep everything as low as possible, to keep everything in line. And if you think that this council is not working very hard to scrutinize everything that comes through is completely scrutinized and done over and checking to see if there's grants and other things, other places. So we are diligently working hard to keep this everything as low as possible.
All right, in our last couple of minutes, we've got no callers right now, 219-362-0522. I want to talk to you as the council president. Is there anything happening in the county that maybe hasn't gotten the attention that you think it should, that maybe you want to use right now, the last couple of minutes, to talk about some of the things that are happening that are maybe good or that maybe the listeners should know?
So I guess a couple of things. Some of the ARP projects that I've reached out to some community members on is some things in South County, because South County so much gets ignored or forgotten about. But so down in Hannah, they're looking for a sidewalk project. I think it's $100 and some thousand. The town of La Crosse is looking for a Main Street improvement project down there, which is, I think they're asking for, it's a small amount. It's under $200,000. These are things that can really improve some things down there. So I'm looking to do some projects around there. We're looking at a respite house in somewhere in LaPorte County. So that would be like a drug rehab center home where people can come to recover instead of them going back to where they came from, where the problem was. They can go somewhere else. There isn't one in LaPorte County, so we have to rely on people in other counties to house these people or do things. So that's something I'm jointly working with Michigan City, LaPorte, and Healthcare Foundation on to bring everybody together. That's one of the things that I really pride myself on is once elected, the party lines are gone. So whether you're Republican or Democrat, we need to have solutions to the problems that we have here in the county, and that's what I'm all about. So.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. We've got one more minute left. I'm going to read those results that we had on our show real quick, or on the polls. If you have not voted yet today in the poll, you ought to go to hometownnewsnow.com. You can see we've got an election headquarters banner at the top there that you can see. I encourage you to come over there and vote every day. There's a new poll. Here's the poll results for the last 3 days. At this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Sheriff under the Republican ticket? Ron Heeg won that one over Andrew Moore, 68 to 32%. The next day was at this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Sheriff under the Democratic Party ticket? 3 candidates, James Arnold, Al Ott, and Andy Heineck. Andy Heineck won 66%. Al Ott had 27%, and James Arnold had 7%. Finally, yesterday at this time, which candidate do you favor for LaPorte County Commissioner District 1 of the Republican Party ticket? Liz Bergeron had 42%. Connie Graham